Today, we're going to talk about something really powerful: surrogacy. It's a path to building a family that people all over the world are choosing, and honestly, the reasons why are incredibly moving. We're going to get into all of it.
So that's the big question, right? What leads someone to make this deeply personal choice? What's going on behind the scenes that makes them decide that surrogacy is their path forward?
Well, it's never just one simple thing. The answer is this incredible mix of medical science, really, personal stories, and just a whole lot of hope.
Okay, so before we go any further, let's just make sure we're all on the same page about what we're actually talking about here. We are focusing on what's called gestational surrogacy, and this is a really key point. The surrogate, who we also call the gestational carrier, has no genetic connection to the baby. The embryo is made from the egg and sperm of the intended parents, or sometimes from donors. That distinction is absolutely crucial. So why do people need to go this route? Well, for so many, the journey begins inside what you could call a medical maze, a situation where carrying a pregnancy just isn't safe, or maybe not even possible.
And the range of medical reasons is just huge. It could be anything from issues with the uterus or maybe a past hysterectomy. For others, it's a chronic health condition like a serious heart problem that would make pregnancy life-threatening. And then there's the sheer heartbreak of recurrent pregnancy loss or needing to be on medication like for chemo that just isn't compatible with a healthy pregnancy.
And this really gets to the heart of the matter for so many intended parents. They have the ability to have a biological child, but that one crucial step, safely carrying the pregnancy to term, is the one thing they can't do. Surrogacy is what makes it possible. It bridges that gap.
But medical science is only one piece of the puzzle. The path to parenthood is so emotional. And that brings us to a whole other set of reasons.
So let's talk about those reasons of the heart, the deeply personal motivations that lead families to surrogacy.
I mean, can you imagine? For someone who has been through the trauma of losing a pregnancy, maybe even multiple times, the thought of trying to carry another one can be just unbearable. Surrogacy becomes this compassionate alternative that lets them keep moving toward parenthood without having to face that specific agonizing trigger again.
And hey, families look a lot different these days, right? For single men and women who are totally ready to be parents, surrogacy is a clear, direct way for them to build their family completely on their own terms.
And of course, for same-sex male couples, surrogacy is a wonderful and common way to have a child that shares a genetic link with one or sometimes even both partners. It just makes that dream of having a biological child a real possibility. Okay, so we've talked about the medical side and the emotional side, but sometimes there are also some very practical things that come into play.
Yeah, sometimes it just comes down to the realities of life. It could be a career that's incredibly physically demanding, making pregnancy impossible. But here's a huge one: the law. In many parts of the world, surrogacy simply isn't allowed. This leads intended parents to look for help in other places, like the US, where there are legal protections in place. So let's say the decision is made. How on earth do you navigate a journey this complex? Well, the answer usually comes down to finding the right support.
You basically have two options. You can try to go it alone, an independent journey, and that can be incredibly overwhelming. You're the one handling every single legal document, medical screening, all of it. The other option is working with an agency, which gives you a guided, structured process. They have a pool of surrogates who've already been screened, and they can handle all the bumps in the road, which is a lifesaver if for some reason a rematch is needed.
So what does an agency actually do? Well, think of them as your project manager, your guide, your support system, all rolled into one. They handle the critical matching process, they coordinate all the complicated medical appointments, they take care of the legal contracts and the money side of things, and this is so important, they're there for emotional support every step of the way. When you step back and look at it all, surrogacy really shows us that there are so many different, beautiful ways to create a family. It's this amazing intersection of science, personal choice, and just love. And it really makes you wonder, right? As our ideas about family keep growing and changing, what will the paths to parenthood look like in the future? It's a pretty fascinating thing to think about.